Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor for Peru as chair of the Group of Friends of Culture and Development at the UN to participate in these discussions. And first of all, I would like to thank Ambassador Kathleen Bogyai for her commitment and culture. As she mentioned, her country is one of the active members of the group, and we have been working very closely. Because as you know, the issue of culture has been discussed also in the preparation of the post-2015 development agenda, now what we call the 2030 agenda. And at the beginning, we thought that it was a task that we can work with several countries and to achieve the goals and targets. We thought that we should actively participate in all the debates. And I think the participation of the group has been a very good one. You can read the goals and targets, and you will find some of the targets are specifically related to culture, and also the declaration that will approve our head of states this week, at the end of this week, also includes a clear mention of culture. It is stated on paragraph 36 of the 2030 Agenda Declaration. Our heads of state and government will committing to foster intercultural understanding, tolerance, mutual respect, an ethic of global citizenship and shared responsibility. And they will acknowledge the natural and cultural diversity of the world and recognize that all cultures and civilizations can contribute to and are crucial enablers of sustainable development. For us, this is a key issue, so I will take this opportunity to speak a little bit of how Peru believes culture can contribute and contributes already to sustainable development. You know, Peru is one of the 6 or 7 cradles of culture of world civilization. Peru bears a cultural tradition that dates back to the sacred city of Caral Supe, more than 5,000 years old, registered in the World Heritage of UNESCO as the oldest city in the Americas. The geography of our country, particularly rugged and rich in biodiversity, has ever since sustained a rich cultural diversity. The Andean civilization reached a climax 5 centuries ago with the empire of the Incas. From the current territories of Chile to Argentina, and up to the southern territories of Colombia, including the current territories of Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia, so many different cultures were integrated through a sustainable development system, one coined as the vertical control of different ecological floors, established to benefit millions of people by applying 2 principles that we can actually project on modern international economic relations: reciprocity and redistribution. The system has at its main infrastructure network of roads called the Capac Ñan. The Capac Ñan, or Royal Road, which is now the largest property inscribed in the World Heritage List. Among such roads, the different Andean, Amazonian, and coastal communities still redistribute their local produce in harmony with nature while preserving local political spaces. In the 16th century, the European conquest and colonization established a different economic system, or a rather extractive and exploitative nature. Despite the asymmetries established, a strong cultural tradition allowed the resilience of indigenous peoples and new intercultural dialogues that have enriched the world civilization. Today, Latin America remains one of the most unequal regions in the world, but governments, such as the current Peruvian one, are making significant efforts to reduce poverty and achieve social inclusion while maintaining economic growth and ensuring environmental sustainability. To this extent, in the context of globalization, culture becomes a competitive advantage. Of course, in today's world, we have a greater exposure to other cultures. The growth of tourist industry and the access to new technologies is bringing us closer. Thus, the diversity of our cultures turns an economic asset. We are endowed with cultural goods and services to offer the world, and we are proud of this because these goods and services speak of our identity and our creativity. This road, the Capac Ñan, is still a network that allows more than the most fascinating trekking. It reminds us that our culture is alive and able to offer to the world. In this line, it is inevitable to refer to the Peruvian gastronomic boom, as we call that in Peru. Now we are open Peruvian chefs, we are exporting restaurants and produce that are very well known in all parts of the world. As here in New York, for example, quinoa has been very successful, a traditional crop from the Incas. In turn, that implies millenary exchange from the tradition of Peru and contribute specifically to development of poor regions in our country. Peru can certainly showcase how culture provides a critical contribution to sustainable development. But every single people in the world belong to a cultural tradition that can prove to be sustainable and resilient. In recent decades, the international community is starting to realize this reality. I would like to recall one of the basic instruments in this respect. This is the report called Our Creative Diversity, published in 1995 at UNESCO by the World Commission on Culture and Development, in that time chaired by Ambassador Javier Pérez de Cuellar, former Secretary General of the organization. This is a landmark for our work on cultural development. That report noted, and I quote, "Culture is a central variable in explaining different patterns of change and an essential determinant, if not the essence itself, of sustainable development, since attitudes and lifestyles govern the ways we manage all our non-renewable resources. Culture shapes all our thinking, imagining, and behavior. It is the transmission of behavior as well as a dynamic source of change, creativity, freedom, and the awakening of innovative opportunities. For groups and society, culture is energy, inspiration, and empowerment, as well as the knowledge and acknowledgement of diversity." End of quote. In these regards, building up on such report, we have now established the following targets with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And I will refer specifically to Target 2.5, call for a fair and equal sharing of benefits arising from the utilization of genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge associated to food security and sustainable agriculture as international agreed. Target 4.7 commits us to promote a culture of peace and non-violence, and to appreciate cultural diversity and culture's contribution to sustainable development in the context of an education for sustainable development. Target 8.3 commits us to further promote creativity and innovation in order to achieve sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Target 8.9 commits us to further devise and implement policies to promote sustainable tourism that creates jobs and promotes local culture and products. Target 11.4 calls us to strengthen efforts to protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage. So we look forward to the implementation of these targets. We will continue working as a group of friends very closely with Hungary and other committed countries to ensure that all these targets that we have established will be implemented in a universal way, and this will be the success of the post-2030 agenda that we are going to approve next week. So thank you again for this invitation.
Thank you very much.